Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents Wine Witch on Fire, Rising from the Ashes of Divorce, Defamation, and Drinking Too Much, by Natalie MacLean, narrated by Natalie MacLean. For my mother Anne, who taught me how big my brave is and to let my words out. Author's note: I wrote this book with positive intent for everyone in it, even those involved in traumatic moments. They've all made me who I am today, as flawed as that remains. Some people's names, physical characteristics, and company affiliations have been changed for privacy. Otherwise, this memoir is a true narrative. The events and dialogue are based on my memories, conversations, journal entries, emails, texts, online posts, screenshots, and recordings. I asked family, friends, colleagues, and several lawyers to review the manuscript. The opinions in this memoir are mine alone and are intended only to share my experience. I don't represent any brand, company, or organization mentioned. My story isn't unusual, but I hope that my journey helps others who travel this way to feel less alone. I raise my glass to you. Speaking of raising a glass, I've created a wine label to give you a taste of what's to come in this book. The wine's name is Domaine MacLean, Unreserved Old Vines Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir is known as the heartbreak grape. That's a perfect pairing for 2012, a terrible vintage in my life. The label reads, after writing about wine for more than 20 years, I can't resist suggesting several bottles that'll pair well with this book. I don't sell wine, and those in this memoir have been selected independently. I'm also not recommending wine to deal with whatever life throws at you. For me, that was divorce, motherhood, later in life dating, and boozy girlfriend get-togethers, blended with anxiety, depression, hope, joy, and wiser love. Pour these wines at your book club, wine group, or coven moon circle. You'll find tips for informal wine tastings in a free discussion guide at www.winewitchonfire.com. That's www. Then the word wine, W-I-N-E, then witch, W-I-T-C-H, on, O-N, fire, F-I-R-E.com. No spaces, winewitchonfire.com. It pays to read a bottle's back label for more clues about what's inside. In the wine world, we talk about terroir, a French word referring to the magical combination of soil, geography, climate, weather, and winemaking decisions to create a wine. Terroir is like a writer's voice. It embodies word choice, point of view, humor, dialogue, and digging into your own dirt to create a memoir. This book is different from my first two. It's more personal and, in parts, more serious. We'll travel through the terroir of my industry, contoured by sexism, to look for a kinder landscape on the horizon. Why the witch theme? Witches resonate with me because their strength comes from within, not from external validation. They also embody the unity of women, the power of the feminine, and the healing connection to nature. Did I end up embracing the positive powers of my inner witch? It wasn't that straightforward, and labels can be misleading. I was forced to dig deep, to battle my darker impulses. That's the real magic I want to share with you. Pour yourself a glass, and let's dive in. I sign the label with Natalie, and then I throw in a few wine terms that also relate to my experience. Wild yeast ferment, Unfined and unfiltered. December 2012. Begin at the season's end. Boil and bubble. I wake to the smell of burning. Heat runs up and down my body. My tongue feels like sandpaper. Why are my eyes glued shut? Last night. It started with 2 glasses of champagne to kick off dinner, then 4 glasses of Pinot Noir. The real culprit must have been that glass, 2, of port. My family passed the decanter around the table clockwise to symbolize the passing of time with the ones you love. A beautiful ritual binding us together. Now all that booze is splitting my head in two. The little drummer boy starts pounding on my cerebral cortex. Wait, that's not burning. It's smoked bacon. My eyelids creak as I pry them open. Notes of Andy Williams singing, "It's the most wonderful time of the year," drift up the stairs to my bedroom. I tune into the sounds and aromas of morning happiness. It's 10 days to Christmas 2012, and somehow I've made it to the end of the year from hell. Not just intact, but could it be? Yes, happy. The thought makes me spring out of bed, which I now regret, and sit back down. Why doesn't Andy just shut up about jingle belling? He's clanging against the other soundtrack in my head. I'm queasy like Sunday morning. Damn it. Why did I drink so much? Hey, it's December 15th, and everyone celebrates a little more than usual during the festive season. Why shouldn't I? I ease off the bed, wash my face, and brushed my tangled seaweed hair before inching downstairs. "Good morning, princess," my boyfriend Daniel says as I enter the kitchen. I wince, but not at his pet name for me, as it comes from a good place. This hangover doesn't. He smiles and flips the bacon. Daniel is Prince Charming in my fairy tale, with curly brown hair and a football quarterback build. He loves to cook, and he even cleans up afterward. I affectionately call him my Cinderfella. Mom sits at the kitchen island with my 14-year-old son, Cameron, playing Crazy Eights. She's come up from Nova Scotia to stay with us for the holidays. "Oh, you rascal, you," she says, as Cameron makes her pick up 6 cards. She looks at me from behind her steel-rimmed glasses and nods. My family's warmth eases the pain in my head. All the heartbreak, depression, and anxiety at the beginning of this year seem to fade with the closing credits of 2012. I've survived the separation, found love, and I'm still writing. My life has somehow magically come back together. There are just 15 hours left before my world implodes. "I'm making rosemary chicken with roasted artichoke for dinner," Daniel says. "Got a wine for that?" "Not yet, but I will." Sure, I have a cellar, but I love seeing what's new on store shelves. Also, did I mention that I'm a professional? I can shop for wine while nursing a hangover. I'm not worried about the chicken, which plays nicely with wine, but artichoke is one of the problem children of the pairing world. It contains an organic acid that fools us into thinking everything we eat or drink afterward is sweeter than it is, including wine. This kind of mission impossible is something I do frequently for my family. "Cameron, come with me after breakfast. We still have a few gifts to get." His bright blue eyes are hopeful. "Like a PlayStation?" Damn. I've been trying to keep him away from video games for as long as possible, but it feels mean with my separation from his father at the beginning of the year, and now the holidays are approaching. He has weathered our split well. Perhaps you should ask Santa for it, I wink. Good idea. Do you think the elves can throw in a console stand? He grins. Back in my office, snow swirls outside the window. I email another writer to confirm that I'm updating the way I post wine reviews on my website, so he'll stop pestering me. This is part of a long stream of nasty comments I've received over the years. There are only 12 hours and 43 minutes before my nightmare before Christmas begins. My books, Red, White, and Drunk All Over, and Unquenchable, celebrate the pleasure of wine. Many readers embrace my loopy tales. Some older male wine writers loathe them. Silly chick-lit. Their equivalent of women's wines. Chardonnay, Pinot Grigio, Prosecco, Rosé. Bitch pours. The opposite of their sophisticated sommelier selections. To hell with them. I am woman, watch me pour. That's why I've long been fascinated with literary witches who didn't care what labels society put on them, from the three sisters in Shakespeare's Macbeth to the women in The Witches of Eastwick. They were persecuted for their powers, or more likely, their misunderstood and feared skills. Even Maleficent was originally a good fairy with powers over plants and herbs, until the man she loved most betrayed her. Same old playbook. There's a happy ending, though. She regained her strength through the phoenix, the mythological bird that rises from the ashes of its predecessor. Maleficent's kiss, not the one from the prince, wakes up Sleeping Beauty. I write for people like me who relate to an occasional tipsy evening and dealing with its aftermath. Like right now. Ow. It wasn't the buzz so much as the upwelling joy that pulled me to wine. I remember the September evening years ago when I visited Mary Edwards Winery and Vineyards in Sonoma. The sweet smell of grapes and alcohol hung heavy in the air of the barrel room. As I walked into the vineyard, the slanting amber rays slid over my shoulders. Wine drew me outside again, connecting me with the earth. It got me out of my head and away from the computer I was chained to in my previous tech job. Some employees there slept under their desks to work longer. We were mole people, I used to joke. We shrank from the sunlight. When I returned to the tasting room, I drank the wine to make the sun and the soil part of me. Then I wrote about it to metabolize my feelings and digest its sensuality. After Cameron and I pick up the gifts, we walk into the liquor store. I remember when he was just 4, he had looked up at me and asked loudly, "Why do we always go to the booze store, Mommy?" "Because Mommy writes about wine. It's her career," I told him in an equally loud voice, avoiding eye contact with the other customers. Then I looked up at the lady with the over-oaked Merlot. That's why no one needs to call child services. Cameron and I strolled down the aisle of Sauvignon Blanc. Bone dry with racy acidity and herbal aromas, it'll be a lovely counterpoint to the artichoke while cutting through the tender roast chicken. With other dishes, I use the lemon or butter rule. If I squeeze some lemon juice on the food, for example, seared halibut, then I drink a wine with edgy acidity like Sauvignon Blanc or Gruner Veltliner. However, if I slather melting butter on my entree, say a big juicy steak, then I pair it with a rich full-bodied Cabernet, or even a barrel-aged Chardonnay. Yes, white wine with red meat. How rogue. The buttery, toasty notes of the Chardonnay will complement the caramelized flavors of the meat. As I stop to pick up a bottle, a young couple a few feet away debates whether a Sauvignon Blanc or Chardonnay would go better with pasta in a cream sauce. I really shouldn't interfere, but my instinct as a wine superhero kicks in. Just as a doctor would clear a crowd to use a defibrillator on someone who has collapsed from a heart attack, I want to say, please stand back, everyone. I can help these people. I'm a trained sommelier. I wait for a pause in their conversation to jump in. If you like contrasting flavors, I suggest you go with the Sauvignon Blanc. It'll cut like a knife through the cream. But if you want to layer richness on richness, a toasty Chardonnay is your ticket. Oh, that's great, thank you, the woman says. She takes a Sauvignon Blanc from the shelf. Yeah, thanks, we were really stumped, her partner adds. Their happy, shining faces make me want to soar up into the clouds and use my infrared vision to scan other liquor stores to save more indecisive drinkers. Alas, I must return to my family who need me more than the throngs of wine enthusiasts. My life's work to relieve their first world problems will have to wait another day. Back home, I try on one dress after another, throwing the rejects on the bed before choosing a fiery red number with sparkles. While I'm usually in yoga pants, I want to wear what I feel tonight. Glittery and happy. Clappy. 4 hours and 6 minutes. The savory golden aromas of Daniel's rosemary chicken and artichoke fill the kitchen. Although it's only mid-December, we toast to the end of 2012, good riddance, with the crisp Sauvignon Blanc. Watching the movie Elf after dinner, we laugh at the oversized adult Will Ferrell sitting on his father's lap. 11 minutes. Calling it a night, Mom and Cameron get all nestled and snug in their beds. Daniel sleeps in the guest room rather than drive home after another very merry dinner. We've been dating for only 2 months, so we're not ready to share the intimate nature of our relationship with Mom or Cameron. Besides, when sugar plums start dancing in their heads, Daniel's just down the hall. It's getting close to midnight, and I'm still feeling festive. In my small, dark office, the multicolor lights twinkle through the window. The buttery notes of Ella Fitzgerald's "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas" melt into the background. The perfect end to a perfect day. But this day isn't over, and it's going to be anything but perfect. Time's up. I'm checking my email one last time before heading upstairs to bed when a Google alert pops up with the headline: Natalie MacLean, world's best wine writer or content thief? Toil and trouble. Content thief? The text quivers as I try to register what I'm reading. What is this? Where did it come from? My heart pounds. I click through to Palette Press, a large American wine and spirits website. There's a long rant about me with phrases that burn into my retinas. Copyright infringement, intellectual theft. What the hell? Their words merge and blur. Those so offended is a who's who in the world of wine journalism. Brings discredit upon any of us. Scourge on journalism, cannot be tolerated. This isn't simply a nasty comment. I'm being accused of the one thing a writer dreads most: stealing someone else's work. Doctors lose their licenses for malpractice. Lawyers are disbarred for misrepresentation. Writers get their careers canceled for copyright infringement. I earn my living online, since the income from my books has long since dried up. Those of us who work online can't simply turn it off any more than a brain surgeon can operate outside a hospital. The difference is that online, there are no separate workplaces. There isn't even separation between work and home. Everybody eventually knows everything about everyone. 11:44 p.m. I'm on my second read through the article. I realize that everything I've written over the past 13 years, all those words, are now fiery cinders flying up around me as my professional reputation burns. My feet feel cemented to the middle of a long ribbon of highway. The oncoming 18-wheeler hurtles toward me. The authors of the article have asked other writers to weigh in on me. No one has commented yet. Maybe I can still defend myself, stop this disaster before it becomes worse. Hands shaking, I start writing a comment below their post. Then I stop. Panic ricochets inside my skull. What can I even say? I can't see through my tears anyway. Closing my eyes, I wrap my arms around where I've been gut punched, rocking silently. Oh my God. I stumble to the kitchen to get water, spilling half of it onto my chest as I gulp. The glass slips and smashes on the floor. Shards scatter in all directions. I hold my breath, but I don't hear anyone upstairs move. Throwing the pieces in the garbage, I notice the blood. I wash my hands quickly, ignoring the fragment in my palm. Back in the office, the lights outside merge into a sickly swamp. Something black is seeping in through my side vision. Can you suffocate in ink? As I stare at the screen, my mind races back over the past year, starting with the implosion of my marriage, finances, health, and sanity. Was all that just a warm-up for what was to come? As I feel an unnamed dread close in on me, I clasp my hands around the back of my neck. Out of nowhere, I see him. Motorcycle guy. I'm 9 years old. Mum's driving me back from a Highland dancing competition in Nova Scotia. He crosses the highway median in front of us and careens into a truck flying up into the air. He comes straight back down onto the asphalt. No helmet, no movement, legs and arms where they shouldn't be, eyes open, not blinking. Mum pulls over to the shoulder and slams on the brakes. Don't look. I look. Now I can't look away. 11:52 p.m. I take a deep breath and continue writing a response. I'm not a thief or a cheat, and this sure as hell isn't plagiarism. My God. I'll be rational. I'll calmly address the accusations, and this will all go away, right? The blood from my palm drips onto the keyboard. 12:06 a.m. Done. Sent. 12:29 a.m. When I get up from my desk, my knees buckle. I run for the bathroom. After throwing up twice, I find myself standing in front of Daniel's bedroom. I must have walked upstairs, but I can't remember doing that. 12:39 a.m. I put my hand on his door handle, then stop. Our relationship is unfolding perfectly, but it's still so new. I don't want to destroy this honeymoon with Prince Charming. Telling him about the online mess wouldn't be just showing him my warts. It would be admitting to him that the world thinks his princess is really a witch, a wine witch. When Adam, my husband of 20 years, left me suddenly at the beginning of the year, I resolved not to trust any man romantically. I was too heartbroken to be angry. There are and have been many good men in my life, from my son to my grandfather and more in between. I just didn't want to go back to months of sobbing silently so Cameron wouldn't hear me, questioning my sanity, drinking to cope. Daniel doesn't need to know about this, especially since he doesn't go online much. I can control the narrative. But what if somebody else tells him? How much time do I have? Maybe I can still have a happy ending, even if I have to eat this poisoned apple alone. Somewhere deep down, that old terrible thought shudders up through me. Love leaves when it sees all of me. 12:46 a.m. I stagger back to my room. The dresses thrown on the chair are like past lives lived, personalities tried on then discarded. None of them will fit me now. I fall into bed in a hollowed-out heap, but lie awake for hours. The barbed words from the article march from one side of my mind to the other. How has this entire year become so mucked up? 3:24 a.m. I stare blearily at the clock until finally the weight of exhaustion drags me down into sleep. I dream of men without faces standing in a circle around me. It takes several moments before I surface from the murkiness of my dreams to realize last night my nightmare before Christmas was real. I want to go back to the computer, but first I run to the bathroom again. The television interview is in just a few hours. It was scheduled weeks ago and will be broadcast on a live news show with more than 1 million viewers. What if the anchor asks me about the online meltdown instead? I can't cancel. That would make me look guilty. Plus, the anchor would never forgive me for creating a last-minute hole in the program. I have to go. What can I say? Dragging myself back to my office, I see the scalding article and the comment I wrote. Rather than diffuse the situation, it has inflamed it. I scroll through the comments, which pile on more accusations, but I can't dwell on them because I hear Cameron coming downstairs. Daniel glances at me as I enter the kitchen. He doesn't recognize the horror hiding behind my forced smile. He can't hear me howling inside my head. Ask me about last night, make me tell you. He knows I'm often preoccupied with my own thoughts, or the aftermath of another sociable evening. You must love that dress, Princess, he says. It looks great on you. I look down and realize I'm still wearing the sparkly number. Oops, I guess it was just so comfy. Mom smiles as she looks up from the Ottawa Citizen newspaper on her tablet. I expect to see the headline, "Local Writer Exposed as a Fraud." I pace around the kitchen island. Can't eat, can't sit down. Everything okay, Mom? Cameron's eyes search mine. I'm fine, hun. I think I may have a cold. I push my smile a little wider. How can I tell him the truth? The world thinks your mother is a cheat and a fraud. I don't know if I can clear my name. Even if I could, what would it matter? After years of working online, I know that nothing on the internet dies, except reputations. And my reputation as a writer is all I have. After Cameron goes back upstairs, I say nothing about the online attack. I don't want to stress Mom and aggravate her heart condition. And what am I supposed to say to Daniel? Welcome to my realm of online hate? I talk mechanically about the news and weather. While Mom and Daniel linger over coffee, I slip back to my office to watch my career execution. There are a few more comments, mostly from other wine writers, cheering each other on. The anonymous comments have also started. I look for anything positive, anyone coming to my defense, but nothing. Much as I want to stay and stare at the pylon, I must be at the TV station at 12:30 p.m. We're supposed to discuss holiday wines and spirits, but I feel about as festive as the ghost of Christmas past. In the shower, I turn the nozzle to full blast, a cold rinse in fear. Stepping out onto the mat, I'm still shivering. After dressing, my hand trembles as I put on lipstick. Who is that pale, terrified woman in the mirror? In a flash, I realize that the last 24 hours have irrevocably changed my life. I woke up yesterday a princess in my fairy tale, albeit one with a hangover. I never was traditional. Now, I'm the witch, and the villagers are coming for me, pitchforks and all. In the TV parking lot, I sit in my car, staring up at the giant lightbox sign, your 24-hour news station that digs deeper. A mist of tears covers my face. I scream to stop them. Can't go on air with black streaks of mascara running down my cheeks. Finally, I drag the bottles and my body into the building. Welcome. Please take a seat beside me, Monique, the host of the show, says. Thanks, this is going to be so much fun. She gives me a sugary smile, giving no signs of having seen the article. But has she? She doesn't seem that friendly either. Is she going to ask me about the accusations on air? Should I bring it up and get ahead of the story?
Sample complete. Ready to continue?